I think it lays a really good foundation. And the best way to think of IoT is, I think with regards to Python programming or data science, consider that like a steak dinner and a lobster dinner. Mine is more like a buffet, where you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Specifically what you'll get, I'll show you in the video, you'll get 8 areas. We expose you to 8 areas, but most importantly, it's hands-on, and there is a capstone project, which means you get to apply. This is what employers want. They don't want people who pass tests, although that is good. They want people who know what they're doing. So when they hire them, they have an expectation, and that expectation is realized. So let me run a quick video here for those of you who haven't seen it.
There are just a few important facts to remember about the Internet of Things. Attending just one class at San Jose City College will give you hands-on experience in 8 of the fastest growing segments in the tech industry today. Careers in programming, data science, cloud services, computer networking, and others. These jobs are among the highest paying available. So why are there so many high-paying jobs being generated by IoT? Just follow the money.
Apple is now led by CEO Tim Cook, who talked to Lester in November.
You may soon be head of $1 trillion company. When you think about that, what goes through your mind?
Financial news now. Amazon makes history, becoming only the second publicly traded company to top $1 trillion in market value.
Wall Street's $1 trillion club has a new member, Microsoft. The company hit $1 trillion in market value for the first time today after its latest.
To better understand why so many jobs are being created by new IoT tech, you have to go back a few years to early Silicon Valley. This British researcher Kevin Ashton, who by the way in this picture bears a striking resemblance version of the Dos Equis frontman, the most interesting man in the world. Anyway, Kevin Ashton was the first person to coin the term Internet of Things back in 1999. On his Wikipedia page, the term described as a system where an internet is connected to a physical world via a sensor. The important terms here, connected, physical world, and sensors. This is the late co-founder of Apple Computers, Steve Jobs. A few years after Kevin Ashton coined the term IoT, Apple Computers introduced the iPhone in June of 2007. The iPod team at Apple included a phone function and connected the device to the Internet. They called it the Internet Communicator. One important note, this is why your smartphone is actually an IoT device.
A widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device.
Apple employees Tony Fadell and Matt Rogers recognized the potential for the new IoT market, so they left Apple and started a new company called Nest. First IoT thermostat by the same name. The product was so popular, it was purchased by Google for $3.2 billion just a few short years later. And with a simple handshake from Mr. Google himself, began the IoT gold rush. When sitting on the table, everybody wants to play. That's Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon.com. He introduced us to smart speakers. Pictured here are Eric Friedman and James Park. They introduced us to smart watches and wearable technologies. Oh, and you remember rocket man Elon Musk, president of SpaceX? He also introduced us to the largest IoT device of them all, the Tesla battery-powered automobile. So why should you care about all this IoT stuff? That's simple. Careers in high technology just pay better. You don't need to be a genius to get a high-paying job in IoT. If you want to have a good standard of living, you need a professional career. And if you're searching for a career with long-term growth, you can't do any better than IoT. Taking an IoT class at San Jose City College introduces you to 8 of the hottest areas in technology in just one class. We're talking about Python programming, IoT security, database management systems, cloud services like Amazon Web Services, and Microsoft Azure. Computer networking, these small computers called SoCs and embedded systems. Environmental sensors and actuators, data science, which is a really hot area, and hands-on experience. For additional information, visit www.sjcc.edu. And thank you for watching.
So that video should give you an idea of what areas we cover in the IoT class. There's really two classes, and one is a self-study class, a case class that goes into IoT lighting, and I'll have Rudy talk about that in just a minute. But to understand, the video tries to tell you that there is a story being told. It started with the late Steve Jobs, and it accelerated from there. In my industry, we have this concept of big data, right? All this information that's being gathered on your phone. Although I see that you guys are taking pictures of it, but this is just gathering enormous amounts of information. This watch is gathering information. This Fitbit is gathering information. I have 3 of them. How many of you have 3? Anybody know? Anybody competing? Anybody have more than 3? You win if you do. But it's gathering a lot of information, which that information is somewhat useless until you know what you're looking for, and you're kind of looking for kind of like a gold in a silver mine, as Elton John would put it. So what data science does, and Sanjay did a good job of explaining it, is it tries to understand enormous amounts of data, the problem that we had in creating the data, and tries to understand from the aggregate what's really going on. Let me give you an example. When everybody walked in here today, you guys sit in a particular place. I do this all the time in my classes. There's a reason why you sit on the front row. It could be everything's blurry. It could be that you want to be noticed. It could be a number of things. Some of you don't want to sit next to other people. Some of you sit in the back for easy escape, right? So what I do in my classes is I'll do things like correlate when a person comes in to their test scores to see if there's a correlation. I'll also see what types of students sit where, as far as if they're timid or if they ask a lot of questions. Because what I'm looking for is I'm trying to predict when you sit in the middle row and here, what type of student are you? And I do that every semester. It's just compiling information. Now we have computers. Now if I put a sensor in that chair, then I can get a little bit more information. Now if I put a sensor at the doorway, I can understand who came in when you took a break, when you came in, if you came in late, if you came in a little earlier, right? And that tells a story. If I'm looking at one person, it's interesting. If I'm looking at a million pieces of information, it is fascinating and filled with lots of potential. So what we do in IoT is we take you through the story of the market that is developing. And it is true, we are at the beginning of a wave of technology. This is about the 3rd wave I've experienced since I've been in the industry. One was a hardware-initiated wave. We're looking at a software-initiated wave. And there's a lot of opportunity. No joke. I mean, just look at the employment rate right now and then look at the demand. Don't believe me? Go on LinkedIn and look at the demand for these types of skills. So one of the things I want you to remember is Bill Gates, co-founder of Microsoft. I think he is now the richest man in the world. He and Jeff Bezos at Amazon seem to compete for that position from time to time. He noticed a problem, what they call the skills gap. Now the skills gap is, yes, you go through your training, you get your certification, you get your degree, but are you matching the skills that are most desired in the industry, which is really why we're here. We're trying to line your skills that we give you, practical skills, so when you walk out of our classroom, people will hire you. It's just that simple. There's no complexity about it. So it's the alignment. And in the IoT class, what we try to do is not only show you the theoretical, not a deep dive like data science or Python programming, but sort of a narrow dive, just to let you understand the full breadth of the story that's being told. You can then choose which area you go in. You may love database management system. You may think that data science may be the most fascinating. I think it is one of the most fascinating areas that's evolving right now. Python programming may be the place where you want to be, or a number of other areas. The other day in my class, I showed a list of the job potentials in each of these areas. There are hundreds. Jobs that you've never heard of before that pay great salaries and benefits that are available right now and will continue to be available in the foreseeable future. So that's what I'm teaching. It's really kind of exciting. It's the newest of the three classes. But let me tell you a little bit more. I'm going to introduce or have Rudy come up and talk to you a little bit about the intelligent lighting class. So any questions about the IoT class at all that the video didn't explain? Quite an exciting area. It has a little bit of everything. Just like I said, it's sort of like a buffet. You take a little bit of this, you take a little bit of that, and if you like this, you take a little bit more. But let me talk a little bit about the capstone project. And I notice I have a couple of students here. They may want to, I'll have them put them on the spot for a couple of minutes about their capstone projects. The capstone project is I'm introducing you to a little bit of Python, a little bit of data science, a little bit of database management systems. We talk a little bit about statistics, kind of a refresher, just so you know how to apply all this stuff to a potential product that you will create. And literally, you're coming up with this idea. Gee, I want to do something that does, like I just came up with an idea. I want to put sensors in your chairs so I know who sits where. That could be an idea. It could be marketable. And we take you a little bit in the marketing and the business aspects because we just don't do this for no particular reason. At the end of the day, people are selling products and services. And wherever you work, you will be selling a product and service. I mean, we're a school, we have a product and service that we offer. This is what we do, education, right? So we want you to know the basics of how this mechanically works. Dr. Tran talked a little bit about the entrepreneurship program. And it takes you through the paces of a business program, like marketing, sales, forecasting, and so forth. But it also has a Silicon Valley flair to it, which is I've done 3 startups myself, and I've participated in about 23 others as an advisor. I'm advising 2 companies right now. So what I can offer in that class is the reality of what actually happens here in Silicon Valley when you're down at Wall Street trying to sell stock, or as you're creating what we call the red herring before you actually do an initial public offering. So I've gone through that before. We've made a lot of mistakes when you go through a lot of companies. Some of them fail, but some of them are wildly successful. So I try to bake that into the entrepreneurship class as well, which is Business 68. Okay. So I'm going to have any questions about IoT. I'm going to have Rudy talk about.
Actually, you want to tell them about the.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the way we do this is we set up a set of meetings, both here. We do a lot of our meetings online, and like Mark, I record those meetings. So if you can't make it to one, you can listen at your convenience to another meeting. But we also meet at IDT Renaissance, which is down in South San Jose. They are partners in crime in this, and they help us with the tech. These guys, really, they're the technologists. They're working. They're doing it. This is you meeting people that actually do this for a living, and one of the leading companies in that space. And so we have several meetings set up with them. We try to adjust these a little bit depending if we get a class, so I can't make it on this particular day and so forth. So we'll adjust those a little bit. But these are the expectations for the actual physical meetings. We'll set up at the convenience the time that we do the virtual meetings. We use online meeting spaces to do that. So again, we can adjust those. In fact, tomorrow I'm meeting with the team because Sunday morning is the time that they can meet. And that's what we figured out, and we'll meet in that time. So we'll work that out. So if you have constraints like a job or other classes and so forth, I would put that aside. That's not going to be a gating factor in your ability to join this course. We'll figure that out somehow, and we always do. We've done this 3 times, and we'll continue to figure that out. So you get the maximum value out of the course and get you employed in whatever field that you like. Thank you, Mark.